conversation, we said, you know, the flip side of this is, if you don't, we're gonna show holidays for every single day that we can, because you opted to work on cold weather conditions and work through the winter. They opted to do that.
Didn't get a real nice response.
No, there was some very
Harsh
heated conversations surrounding this, and, you know, the comment's been made that you can inflict liquidated damages, but we don't accept liquidated damages, and we'll see in court essentially. And, you know.
Basically, he said, I'll do what I want, there's
Yeah.
not anything you can do about it.
And there really was nothing we could do. You know, they have the ability, under the DOT contract, to work through the winter if they elect to do so. And that's part of the protection for the contract when they go into bid, that the city or the DOT isn't gonna tell them you have to do this or you don't have to do that. But part of that is that we also have our liquidated damages provision. We also have the ability to, you know, essentially hit them for those costs if they elect to do that. And, you know, if they're working 6-hour days as opposed to 13-hour days, then, you know, that's not good for us. And that means that we're paying an engineer to be there for 6 hours rather than 13 hours. And so that's, that gets expensive very quickly.
So it wouldn't be surprising to see some litigation against the city if we,
I don't know.
from them or not.
I think that
Hard to say at this
They
point.
wouldn't have a chance, or it would cost them a lot of money to get an attorney to not get any money out of it.
I don't think that there's a
What are we
good
gonna
leg
argue
to
about?
stand on them. I mean, I think that it was somewhat of an idle threat at this point, because,
Probably just saber rattling.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
If we actually have liquidated damages, we're not just saying, well, we don't like the color of the paint, so we're gonna hold back $100,000. We actually
Right.
spent $160,000 we should never have spent in the first place.
They are way over the contract.
Right.
Way over the contract.
That was
There's a
their fault.
huge amount of costs on it. You know, everything comes back to flood or winter work, and the flooding, we gave them the days. We did not charge them working days for any of the flooding or any of the cleanup following the flooding. We did charge them for the week following the 2 weeks that we gave them for cleanup when they still didn't show up. So they were charged for that week, but, you know, we were very lenient all the way through this process on working days, and they're all very well documented. Anything that was engineering delays for pier redesign, that was all thrown out. Those weren't working days that were charged. And there's a, you know, that whole list, 82 out of like the, I don't even know what it was, like 160 working days, only 82 of them were charged, even though they're 162 or 250 or whatever it is past when the contract was supposed to be completed. And so, I don't think there's a good leg for them to stand on. You know, yeah, is it gonna cost us money, but it'll cost them money, and so I don't see that happening. For the most part, I just wanna get this project finally closed out. We've been doing this for 2 years now.
Yeah.
So.
We don't get any other project closed, I don't know, this would be.
Exactly. That's it.
It'd be nice to close one out.
I'll make a motion on resolution number 2015-69.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Slater?
Aye.
Scholl?
Aye.
Rusher?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Goodell?
Aye.
Next, we need a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2015-70. Resolution approving pay estimate number 15 from Godfredson Smith Construction Company of Ida Grove, Iowa, in the amount of $68,075.70 for the Sumner Avenue Bridge Replacement Project.
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote.
Scholl?
Aye.
Rusher?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Goodell?
Aye.
Slater?
Aye. Next, we need a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2015-71. A resolution approving pay estimate number 7 from Blacktop Service Company of Humboldt, Iowa, for the roadway system maintenance project in the amount of $101,845.03.
Helseth has continued to finish the sidewalks and works moving towards the new areas that were added this summer. I've had numerous calls, and, you know, I wrote the notes here, Wednesday, and I've had more calls since then. The concerns about the seeding getting completed and how it was completed continue to roll in. The ground was not leveled. The seeding was blasted all over the sidewalk. And the unfortunate thing is this is a local company that did the work. It's not, you know, someone far away. I am working
I'll read what they saw.
yeah, I'm working to correct that issue.
So this is from local residents that have called in that have had
Yes.
work done on their sidewalks.
No, this is
No,
our,
this is
Well,
it.
but I mean, but
Yeah,
in the right of way on their property, yeah.
From the ramps being completed,
Okay.
the edges along the side had to be filled with black dirt and, smooth, well, should have been smooth, and then seeded. And, you know, it's just a matter of, if you want to do it in your own yard, why would you do it in somebody else's yard, unfortunately? We've had this struggle before, and I will fight that fight. I'm not terribly happy with the work. And
Is there a
But it
subcontractor
is
involved
in
in
regards
that?
to Hellison and what they're doing.
no, Elsas doing
Okay,
fantastic.
yeah. Okay,
Would
all right.
Blacktop Service hire a subcontractor that's supposed to be doing this? And I see.
So, unfortunate.
I've seen a couple people have taken upon themselves and doing their own work in their yards.
Exactly.
In front of, Don
It's
Pride's
done
old
nice.
house was doing it the other day, and it was a mess. I could see that when I went by it. He worked out there all day, but it looked very nice that night anyway, but he was,
Yeah,
you know, not everyone expects everything to get done for them, you know.
yeah.
There is
Some
some
people
maintenance
take it
involved in
upon
your yard,
themselves.
everything and stuff, you know, is to take care of things. I mean, that's, no, I don't expect shoddy work, but
Yeah.
nothing ever gets put back the way we all think it should in our own yards, and stuff, it just never works out.
I did have a question on when we're doing these, and we're doing one, why aren't we doing the others? We're just doing across the street, is that because there's nothing going across the block?
You can't, ADA requirements say that you cannot send somebody into a street without receiving them on the other side.
Right.
And so if you have a sidewalk on one side, then you have to have a sidewalk on the other side, or build the sidewalk on the other
Right.
side. And
But,
so,
but what I'm saying is on the corner of Third Avenue North and Fourth, it's just going across and it's getting across to the Catholic Church, and there's not one going across to the next block.
One on one.
One and one, okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
yeah,
One on one.
Okay,
so,
that's all I needed to know.
Expense.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. I was just curious, cause some of them were, you know, around some around the park and stuff like that, those were different, so I just wanted to make sure that.
yeah, a lot of it was just trying to limit the sheer number.
Okay, fair enough.
We have a first and a second, roll call vote.
Rusher,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Goodell,
Aye.
Slater,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
We have a motion to approve final proposed resolution number 2015-72. Resolution approving pay estimate number 2 from Grunland Hicks LLC of Cherokee Island, amount of $7,560 for the construction of a sludge holding tank cover at the wastewater treatment plant for the city of Humboldt.
They're just starting to move forward with the sludge holding tank, still a lot of preliminary work, getting materials in. And you'll see there's a change order below it, that involves some of the preliminary running out. It should go up very quickly once it comes in, but the precast has got a really long lead time on it, so.
Move it, approved. Second.
Roll call vote.
Davis,
Aye.
Goodell, Slater,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Rusher.
Aye. We need a motion to approve the final proposed resolution number 2015-73. Resolution approving contract change order number 1 with Grunland Hicks LLC of Cherokee Isle for a net decrease in the contract price of $1,700 for the construction of a sludge holding tank cover at the wastewater treatment plant for the city of Humboldt.
This was just a change in the way that the lid was sealed up. I don't know if you remember, David had talked about that there was a coating that goes onto it just to further protect concrete from the caustic environment that it'll be operating under. And so they changed the way that it was applied and what was used. They felt that it was an equal product. It was just a little bit cheaper. I think thermal seal or whatever it is a pretty expensive. Yeah, thermal seal coating is a pretty expensive product. They felt that it was like that it was an equivalent product, just maybe not a name brand.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Goodell,
Aye.
Slater,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Rusher,
Aye.
Davis.
Alright.
Under ordinances, we need a motion to approve the first reading of the following proposed ordinance. An ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Humboldt, Iowa by amending chapter 23, section 2 pertaining to the planning and zoning commission term of office.
This was an interesting one. Larry caught, there was I guess an error in when it was codified last. It somehow went from 6 years to 5 years, and
Go back to 6.
we're gonna go back to 6, considering that's what's required. So it's probably best to leave it at 6.
Actually, Gary got that.
Yeah, oh, I guess I should give Carrie credit, she's the one who caught it. So, we were putting up all the information, the change in law that requires the contact information, we're also putting up all the different board members in the hopes that we can strong arm more people into being board members. And so we're trying to just get as much information up on the website as possible. So Carrie was putting that up and caught those. And so we figured we'd become compliant again and changed it up.
Is there an ordinance?
I don't know when it changed, but somehow it changed somewhere.
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote?
Slater?
Aye.
Show?
Aye.
Rusher?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Goodell?
Aye.
And we need a motion to approve the first reading of the following proposed ordinance, an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Humboldt, Iowa by repealing chapter 26 pertaining to the airport zoning commission.
It's actually very fitting that we're sitting in the county while we're talking about this. This, we changed this airport code probably 3 years ago, I think, and the county had to change their code also because they work side by side with, because the airport operates, the airspace is both in the county and in the city. And so when we change them, we have to change them together. And so when Clark Settle Garber did that amendment, we got rid of the airport zoning commission because the airport zoning commission was never actually appointed. It was kind of a fake board. You know, nobody was ever appointed to it. If somebody actually brought an appeal to the zoning board for the airport, there would be nobody to hear the appeal. So we would be scrambling to try and get people on this board, and essentially you would be appointing them for a one-off situation. So you could really steer the decision and say, okay, well I want, you know, Frank and John and Sue because they all agree with me, so then I'm going to appoint them to this board. Really not a functional way to operate the zoning for the airport. So with that in mind, we just started we changed all the wording to say the zoning board of adjustment for the city of Humboldt. That board is always there, with that board always being there. I think it's gonna operate in a more honest manner, and furthermore, there's really no unique information that the zoning board for the airport commission necessarily had, because they didn't exist. And so you're really not keeping an educated, the idea would be to keep an educated board on airspace requirements and things along those lines. The fact is, the board didn't exist, so it wasn't like they were getting training in airspace requirements and other unique airport issues. So with that in mind, we got rid of that. We did that 3 years ago. But again, this section still existed in the code, and so we had to go through, because it was outside of the airport zoning code, it was never caught. You know, it was covered by the ordinance change because it said all other things referring to, you know, X or repealed when we did that. But the reality is that this section still was in there and it should be removed.
Move approve.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Show?
Aye.
Rusher?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Goodell?
Aye.
Slater?
Aye.
That's the last of our scheduled item. Dan, anything?
Just a couple of things. The library repair, Aaron, things are kind of in disarray over there. I was just wondering, it's not the membrane that's in fault, it's flashing around the membrane, so it's our responsibility?
So
or-
many things.
Are you talking about the water coming in the basement, the water coming in the roof? Those are two different issues.
What?
There's so many things. I love that building and I love spending time there. I spent most of that Friday either up on the roof or in the basement or traveling around trying to figure out what's going on. There are multiple issues going on there. We've got the foundation has water coming in because essentially it's sloped. It's an old building and it's got not a great foundation. But it was sloped back, I think just it settled over time and it sloped back, and so water was pushing up against the concrete. So we've got to raise that up, get the water flowing away from the foundation so that it's not just sitting there. Additionally, there's a big pit of rocks there that's acting like a bath and just keeping the water next to it. So we need to get those away from it so that it's, again, channeling water away. On the roof, there was originally a caulking issue, which I argued with Daryl last on the fact that the caulking was there, but he was right, there was water coming in from the caulking, and so we had to get that fixed, so we got that fixed. The flashing, I'm not convinced, but it sure is not a bad idea to get the flashing tight. I don't think that that's necessarily where the issue was coming from. We continue to have issues with the membrane. I'm arguing with Duralast. We've got costs from that. I guess fortunately, or unfortunately, the roof has not been put back, or the ceiling has not been put back, so therefore it didn't really damage anything because we just had an open hole in the library ceiling. Now, I don't think that's a great way to operate, but the flip side of that is, you know, it is difficult to find somebody to do a scope of work that's that small. There's, you know, if you've got somebody who's got a burning desire to do the library work, please have them contact me. I have a difficult time even getting quotes to get the work done, let alone find somebody with the time.
Because some of the argument is, it's kind of a warranty issue, so nobody really wants to tie into a warranty issue if they're not gonna get paid well on it.
Well, I mean, we pay everything out of the city, and then we'll fight, you know, I don't wanna leave somebody in the lurch, so we fight the company, or the freelance, when they aren't paying. And they agreed to the work, and then they said, well, wait a second, so you're telling me this is just the remediation? I'm like, yeah, it's just the remediation, just getting the water out of the building. It was, you know, and using fans and getting it out of the drywall, because it seeped all behind the drywall, and cut some drywall out. He said, well, that seems like an extraordinary amount for the small amount of water that we had. I said, well, we got pictures, you know, I think we're gonna end up taking Duralast for it. I don't see them responding well, they're trying to pretend it didn't happen. The flip side of this is I would just have it fixed and fight them with the bill that I get from whoever fixes it, but I'm having a difficult time even getting quotes to get the whole
Well,
fix.
you're looking for a general contractor to do the replacement of ceiling tile and drywall work, or
Yes.
you're talking about roof work? So if we know anybody that is kind of a,
Have them contact me.
that's fine.
I would love to have them.
Could we get the same people that did the first roof on the water plant?
On the water pump, yeah. Not the roof, we don't need the roofers. We don't need those roofers back.
It's just good luck with those, with
Yeah.
flat roofs.
And then,
Second company did a good job.
I just,
Could we get down?
Pat Riley's, how do we get reimbursed for the expenses we incurred on him?
It's already started.
Okay, good. And then,
We've had the communication with him, and he's actually, he has made a payment already, a pretty significant payment on it. So that's
And-
already in place, I had a conversation with him.
okay.
and
You said
took
we
care of it.
received 13 applications for police officers for the open position, is that correct?
Yes, we have quite a few applications, and then we also have, I believe Andrew Shillington is looking at the position of potentially coming back. That'll be a conversation we'll have to have. I'm still waiting for more information from him, you know, and we'll go from there.
Anything else? DD 13 assessment, I see we paid $28,000. That is, now, how much more do we owe, or we're making installment payments on that?
Paying that much about every year.
Every year for how long, Gloria? Would you guess? Estimate?
10 years?
It was a 10-year,
It was a 10-year
it
when
was
it
a 10-year
started.
assessment,
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just our annual installment payment, I see. Okay.
Just a drop in the bucket. Anything else, Dan?
No, that's it, thank you. Yep.
John?
No, I don't.
Joel? Brett? No. Darrell? Only thing I guess is tomorrow night is,
Yeah.
there'll be a few Hawkeyes there and a lot of Cyclone people there, and also if all wanna come down and roust everybody and stuff, should be a good time. I mean, this is gonna be a pretty big event, you know, maybe here, and, you know, kind of fill us in. We did not get your actual report, so I guess I'd like to hear kind of what's going on before we get done here or anything and stuff.
The RVTV event, I would encourage all the Iowa State fans to go party on 169. Iowa fans, we can come down to Afton Summer. Sorry. So anyway,
Anyway,
it is gonna be huge. I started out, when we started planning this, huge volunteer effort, huge response from the business community. The sponsorships have been incredible, the in-kind donations have been incredible. Everything that we've tried to get completed has really come together. A lot of volunteer efforts from, people on the RVTV commission who've worked hard to try and make it happen and answer questions after hours and think about it, all the potential things that could go wrong and try and address those. So really just a really strong effort. The different events, you've got everything from goofy things like the adult tricycles to really cool kids events by building families and the other service providers from the area who work with the children. Inflatables. We got a great band with Sausage Act that'll be incredible. I think
Everything's free.
everything's free. That's the other thing. One of the focus when we started planning this was, it really should be an event for the full community, for everybody to come down and have a great time and not need to necessarily bring their wallet with them, but just really enjoy and have a good time and make fun of Iowa State fans. I mean, that's really
Yeah. I always said it's not, it's not the Hawkeye team.
Before I say anything else, I should really count out how many Iowa fans, how many Iowa State fans.
Both Iowa fans are on that ride, aren't
Iowa fan. I got a few of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it has been, and that's been part of the fun, honestly. I think the good natured ribbing back and forth has been a lot of fun and just a really awesome community event. Very cool.
Update on street projects on Fifth Avenue.
Fifth Avenue, yeah, I did bring that down. Say anything about it.
John maybe wants to talk
John, would you like
about
to give an update on Fifth Avenue?
Nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening. There you go.
Need some water.
Are we waiting for a water test to come back yet?
Yeah, they got the 2 water tests just came through. That's why you're not seeing anything happen. They run the back T test on the main, and then they'll start hooking up all the laterals out to all the
Right.
services.
Right.
We had one mishap. They did catch a service as they were going through. I'd love to tell you that doesn't happen, but it does. Every time you bore, you're going to catch something, I think. But I think in general, the fact that it didn't do, as long as it's not John's, but it didn't do, you're not doing as much damage as you would have as you went through the street. I know Wunsch would have a much different opinion about that, but I think that, it did do a good job of not disturbing as much and getting it behind curb without everybody's streets, which makes homeowners happy. But, it did create a little bit of a mess there. I think that, Wunsch is proving to be a great contractor again. They moved quickly, wait for the test to come back, and I think you'll see the same sort of effort once we get the tests back.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah.
No, they are very
They're good people.
So,
very conscientious.
same with McPeak too. I think
Yeah.
they've done
They
a
work
very
well
nice
together.
job.
Yep. We're very fortunate that we've got both crews there.
Yeah, I know McPeak has had to probably do more damage than they'd like, but they're put in pretty difficult situations throughout town as they're working for Goldfield. They've had to saw cut streets and do different things that I'm sure they don't want to do, but when you're dealing with rock that's 4 inches, if you're gonna get the line in, yeah, if you're gonna get the line in, you got to do it. And so they have, but they have not hit much with the amount of boring that they've done in town. It is surprising that we've not had more calls, a few services, and that's about it. So that's going there. I guess we've talked about the bridge. We talked about the sidewalks, hangar projects closing out.
Water plant, are we still on a punch list on the water plant?
We've got lead going through right now. I just, what's hanging out right now is just the lead certification. That has a 2-year tail on it. That's the biggest item that still needs to be completed. There's still some bugs in the computer system. I mean, I can tell you, over the last 3 months, there's been very few things that have come up. Whereas, if you asked me the 3 or 6 months prior to that, we had a lot of things going on where, there was a false alarm every, probably 2 days over there. And now it's getting to where it's working better. The towers are working better together, and honestly, the staff is getting used to operating the new plant. I think that's part of it too. But, no, I mean, it's still that beautiful defenseless stage, but there are a lot of things going on. The lead certification, once that comes back, then we get the loan forgiveness on the SRF funds. That'll be a significant chunk. What they'll do is run a new amortization with the revised amount based off of the SRF forgiveness. And so it's not that you're gonna get they're not gonna give you $600,000, they're just gonna tell you, okay, you will pay X amount less over the future years. And so, got that going on. Eagle Ridge, you know, that, once we get everything hammered out, that'll be ready to go. We'll have to do a formal consideration of the contract on the 21st. And so that'll be, to give approval for Hearst and Sons to move forward with the project. And so that'll be.
You'll have most everything, or like, at least with Ryan and
We'll be-
stuff, you'll have that
yeah.
hammered out by
We'll
then and
have,
stuff anyway, before we do that.
yeah, we'll have, I wouldn't say everything would be finished.
Right. At least you'll have an agreement to know that
Yeah.
we're safe.
We'll
moving
have,
forward
we'll be
doing it, right?
much further along. We'll have the urban renewal area, the urban renewal plan updated to include the area that was not originally in, the south side residential urban renewal area, I think is the name. And so that area will then be included. You know, I'll have some of the tax abatement in place, we'll have a development agreement further along. Not everything will happen at once. I wish I could say it would all go through on the 21st, but there's still a chance for something to go wrong where, you know, this item is still outstanding. And so I will definitely be more comfortable, I think we'll have more finished, but it's not perfect yet. And on the 21st, it won't be perfect, so, but we'll be very close, very close.
One of the flooding that took place up at the high school, we had a tremendous amount of rain, was that our issue, or was that, what was going on up there?
Well, you know, there's two issues there. One is, no drainage to the south is not happening. Don't know why, but it's not happening. You know, it's a 3-foot tile line going out that was taking no water. So we know that there's a problem going south. So now we gotta get a crew in and start digging to find out, you know, where the problem is there. But a lot of the issue, especially the parking lot that literally flooded and shut the school down, was that they let out early, was unfortunately drains to the south, which moves over onto our side, which is not a good thing. But that's a major intake area there for water that's coming over that direction now, that we're not ever equipped for that. And those are all farm tile lines that are in there. That was never set up as that I know of, was never set up as a managed drainage, because I know a couple of houses, when they were built in there, built right over the top of that, punched right through into the tile lines. I know some were capped off years ago, I know guys that did it, so I know that some of the tile lines have been moved, but those are just all small tile lines going through. There was never a large intake was put in there for, that was all farm ground. It was never intended to be you know, what it is, what it turned out to be.
They're looking to, I think, investigate kind of what's going on with the drainage district. Rick Hopper will be involved in the county on what's happening with that district, making sure that everything's operating correctly, or what's not operating correctly, or how it's flowing. So they're gonna keep working on that. And then on our side, on the city side, that drainage to the south is always going to be an issue. And so trying to work with Greg Darling to make sure that that flow of all that water is handled as best as possible, because I think that line is never gonna be sized accordingly to accept that water. And so the fact that water is going to the south is a problem. It can't go to the south, it needs to go somewhere else. Because
That's
what
that new
happens-
tile, that's that new tile they put in there? and-
Or not to the south, sorry, I
It
apologize,
needs
to the
go-
north.
It needs to go to the north.
It goes to the
Going
north.
to the south.
I misspoke. It goes to the north, and it needs to go some other way, because the line going to the north up to Humboldt